welcome to my channel where we question everything. Today's topic is why I disagree with Duran and a video that they published on the 5th of October. And the video is called German Deindustrialization, Transitioning to a Service-Based Economy. Now, I'm sorry, I've been following Duran now for a long time, and everybody says they are very influential podcast or video representation, and usually they discuss interesting topics and their views are fairly accurately, well, to the knowledge that I have. There are always questions, but well, out of lately I've been starting to really ask questions and disagree with their assessment. And as I've said in my previous videos, this is not a Ukrainian type of attack on them, but I feel that they, in this case, or in this episode, they really pushed the envelope and grabbed at straws and so on for the narrative. And therefore I have to respond to this. So they start off basically with a statement that the Russians have said they can fix the Nord Stream pipelines. And that is true. And it's supposed to be a major issue for them. No, it's not a big issue. From an engineering point of view, is everything can be fixed. It all depends on cost and time. But you will not build or make a huge investment or build such a project if you cannot repair it, because we all engineers know that breakage will always occur. That's a given. So to state that the Russians are able to repair, that was never in any doubt. And I don't know why it's such a big issue. The question that everyone should ask is, why would the Russians repair it? And that is more a relevant question. And at this stage, I don't see the reason for that. Well, then they also state that there is currently being panic in the European Union, and especially Germany. They mostly focus on Germany. And this is all about the gas shortage. But Alexandra and Alex are confusing energy with gas. Those are two totally, completely different issues. Yes, there is a gas shortage at the moment because they are not getting gas from Russia. But their reservoirs are fairly full. I mean, as far as I understand, they're nearly at their targets. I've said it before that the experts say that the reservoirs are not enough. They are supposed to be supplementary. But we are talking about gas, which I've also explained in the previous video, that it only contributes 14% to the electrical generation in Germany. And although it is being used at 38% market share of the heating can be replaced by electrical heating. We do it here in South Africa, while at the home. In the industry, it's a little bit more difficult. Now, I can understand there are industries in Germany that do require gas for production, and not only for heat, but as a raw material. And we can talk about the fertilizer industry, and we can talk about plastics and polymer base materials. We can look at creation of medicines. What they are basically doing is they are converting already complex molecules by chemical processes as a base material to generate the other ones. But those are, how big is that part of the German economy? And isn't China already one of the biggest suppliers of base material, chemical materials for the world? So yes, it will have an impact on the German economy, but it won't be the end. They will lose maybe that part, but they will retain the bulk of the economy. So in any case, they say they refer to a report that basically states that Germany will make the winter. And then they discuss it, and then they say, but why are there so conflicting views in the industry? Yes, why? The question is really why. Alexander states they look at the same base material and or basic data, but they interpret it differently. Well, interpreting data is based on your experience and your biased view about the matter. Now, is Alexander an expert on energy? No. Was this guy that wrote the article an expert? I don't know. I haven't seen that article. But by asking questions, and as I pointed out, it's not a gas problem per se. Yes, gas is a problem. It's an energy. And it's not an energy per se, it's an energy price. The price of energy, which means the price of electricity, is too high. And the price of the electricity was created based on a shortage of gas, because according to industry, the price or the cost of electricity is determined on the highest price of production. And currently, that is gas. All the other power generation facilities are making huge profits because their input costs have more or less stayed the same, and they're all piggybacking on the price of gas. So there is a solution, depends on whether the government will implement it. They have already spoken it, and I'm quite confident they will do it. And then electricity prices will go down. Now, they also say, Alexander talks about that energy use increased in September. Yes, I knew about that. Instead of decreasing the energy usage, it actually has increased. And he also states that people will not work together to save energy. But that's an open question. Like I said, I've lived in South Africa. I actually live in the Cape Province. And a couple of years back, we had a water shortage. It was so bad that there was a great possibility that we would have run out of water. And I'm not talking about a small town or so. I'm talking the city of Cape Town with a couple of million people and industry. And people stood together. They saved water drastically, and we made it through the dry season. Now we have enough water, but that's not a problem. But the people stood together and they saved water. We all did, and we all brought out this. Because the result will be no water. And if the German population don't sacrifice or work together, then they will have no energy. So instead of being a little bit colder and wearing a jersey or whatever other means are, and a little bit of that inconvenience, the possibility would be that they have no energy. That means totally cold. And what would people prefer? And it's also a question of, putting a message out, hammering the message. The Western media has been, in any case, very effective in propaganda, so might as well continue and motivate these people to save energy. Put on the pressure. But then also Alexander says, but the government is subsidizing the energy. And that is not conducive to saving of energy, but it's only 300 euros. And it's a once-off payment. And it's a token gesture, basically, from the government. Prices have increased so much that 300 euros won't last long, maybe a month. And the real saving at the end of the day might probably be the cost of the energy, which will force people to either elect to buy food, and the high food due to inflation, or they're going to spend it on energy. And as we heard in England and so on, that's a difficult choice, and there are numerous people, millions of people going to go energy poor, basically. And heating and so on has been in any case a fairly modern type of phenomena. It's more comfortable. In our days, maybe 100 years back or even more than, there was no heating in every house. Was there? In any case. So they question basically that narrative. And again, like I'm saying, is they are confusing energy with gas. It's not the same thing. It's the price of energy. That's the problem. That is caused by the shortage of gas, which is a manipulated situation. Have I expressed in another type of video that I made. Now, there's now rumors, it's again the same narrative without thinking about this, that due to this gas shortage, we're going to have a deindustrialization of Germany. And German companies going to think about moving to another country, and they all estimate to America. Why would I go to America? A lot of German manufacturing, or a lot of German companies already have or source some of their products from China, or let even the Chinese produce the products under license. So they already exported a lot of their manufacturing business to China. I don't see why it should be done. You want to set up a new factory, it's going to take you how long, especially if it's a complicated factory. It might take you a couple of years. And then we have, in any case, a total new scenario. And then you're going to compete in America, and the energy price in America is not that much cheaper. So I don't understand what they no, they might be a few years. But as far as I know, the German industry is 3.1 trillion euros. And what percentage of the German industry will leave? Again, it's not the gas, it is the price of electricity, the price of energy. And since we have a lot of Green Party guys, the Green Party being so prominent in the German government, they are pushing for the green agenda and for renewable energy. So they can build new energy, green energy. They can go for renewables. Yes, we know all the problems go with that. It's not that simple. But the Germans are also not cutting off the gas supply now. They're only cutting off the oil. The gas they want to reduce over the next year. And even they might ask the Russians to repair the pipe. Well, if you understand, one of the Nord Stream pipe 2 lines are working. The other, the complete Nord Stream 1 is, both of them are damaged. One of the Nord Stream. But if they don't want to be a political incorrect, then they can ask the Russians to repair the 2 Nord Stream 1 pipelines. And then import their gas. That's not going to be a failure of politics. It's not going to be that, because they have been importing gas from Russia. So it's not a backtrack of their policies. And they can slowly move away from the shortage of gas, or wean themselves of the Russian gas and invest more in other sources of other suppliers. And they even start, and I know it takes time, but they are planning to restart up some of their coal-fired power generators. And that will go on maybe for 2 or 3 or 4 years until they have built up enough renewable energy. Pops your uncle, you know. As an engineer, we always say that we are engineers, are problem solvers. We find what the problem is, and we find solution to resolve those problems. That is what we do. And for my philosophy was always, all problems have a solution. You just have to find it. So I don't understand all this hysteric narratives. I don't always understand the consistent narrative that the Westerns have and what the pro-Russian punters have, which I've explained in another videos of mine. Times are changing. The more we go on, look, if you look at let's take the example of the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines. When it happened, you knew nothing. And then you started a narrative. But the longer it goes on, the more you start to find out. And if you don't keep up to date, then your narrative stays the same. You have to update your information and go on. And the more you go, the more you think about it, and the more you start to realize, but your initial assessment was wrong. You've got to change your assessment. But it doesn't seem to me as if both parties, pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russians aren't changing their narrative. It's always the same. I mean, Alexandra totally, yeah, I don't know. Then he started to talk about oil. Oh, Germany is now going to provide Saudi Arabia with weapons and so on, which Germany never did. And now Germany has changed their stance, and now they're going to supply Saudi Arabia with weapons so they can get their oil. But oil is not really a problem, not in the context that they are addressing. There are much more bigger problems of the oil, and that bigger difference is getting the oil to the refineries, which are 200 kilometers, well, the biggest one is 200 kilometers away from the harbor, from the ocean. And the pipeline to that refinery is old and has to probably be repaired and restored and all that other stuff that goes with it. Those are biggest problems, and not that it's a supply of oil. And we all know that the oil pipeline distribution in Europe is not the same as the gas. The gas pipeline distribution is much more advanced and much more elaborate. So oil is really a problem. And then Alexander makes a stupid statement that, Saudi Arabia provides light oil, and you can produce less diesel and other fuels from light oil than you can get from the Russian thicker blend. He shouldn't talk about this because he hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. Light crude oil is the best oil you can get. It's the purest form of oil you can get. Very fluid, has a lot of hydrocarbons in it, has the highest percentage of hydrocarbons in it, and you can get the most diesel and petrol and other chemicals out of it. And the processing of that is fairly cost effective because it's fairly clean. When you have thicker oil, like Russians, which is medium, but if you want to have the real issue, it's Venezuela. Venezuela has very thick oil. It is so thick that they have to put xylene into the mixture in order to thin it so that they can even process. It's more like tar-like than really like oil. And that's why Venezuela has the biggest oil reserves in the world. But it's not being exploited because it's difficult to process, and they need all the other chemicals. And xylene, again, is made from oil. It's one of the byproducts. So, no. Saudi Arabian oil is a better oil than the Russians, and you can get more diesel and other chemicals at a cheaper cost out of the oil. And you can verify it. I can give you a link to Wikipedia, but it's the first paragraph, it tells you that. So why didn't you check his statement? In any case. And then you talk about as well. Yeah, and then you start to report about the political implications of, well, let's start what he actually said. And then they talk about the German possibility that they will ask the Russian to repair the pipeline. I'll just quickly address it just now. And they talk the political implications about that. And then they say specifically that the German government cannot go back and change their view on the Nord Stream. Because from a political point of view, it would be suicide for Schulz and Baerbock and Habeck and so on. And he also states that all the other parties, members, have the same idea, being anti-Russian, supporting Ukraine and shooting themselves in the foot. Now let's ask a simple question. How can it be political suicide that if you have no energy and you have no solution in place and your people are freezing and they become unsatisfied and they go out onto the street and they riot and they demand an election, Do you still think that those politicians will be remain in their elected positions? I'm sorry, no. They will be replaced by another party. And if Alexander states that all the parties have the same feeling about that, then who's the remaining ones? The left and the right. And what has happened in Italy? The far right party got into power. Georgia Meloni. And in Germany, the AfD, which is a similar far right party, has gained ground, and they will take over because they are not far right, they're actually in the middle, but they are, for propaganda reasons, are being blamed for Nazism and so on. But who the hell cares about Nazism? Aren't the Nazis in Ukraine? And the German government is supporting them. So what hypocrisy and double standards do we have now? So, question is, are you going to change your mind, get some pudding onto your face and admit you made wrong and get the Russian gas? Or are you going to lose your job by unrest and a forced election, and then you're going to have the right party in command of Germany? I mean, some German MPs are already calling to and saying that Silvio Berlusconi should be removed from the European Party if he joins and supports Georgia Meloni. So they don't want a right-wing, they are actually upset that the right-wing party has gained power in Italy. And then in any case, went so far as go and mix into another country's, sovereign country's election results and violate all principles and all concepts of a democracy. But we have become used to that by the Western narratives and so on. You may not, the rest of the world may not interfere, but the West can interfere in your election and your choices for your government. So, I don't know how Alexander sees that view. And then they start talking about the gas lines. And we know that there's the new Baltic pipeline is opened between Norway and Poland. And there's a new pipeline or piece of pipeline that has opened in Hungary, I believe. Bulgaria? I'm not sure. We know what. Van der Leyen is apparently there. In any case, that pipeline comes from Azerbaijan. Now, both of these pipelines will deliver additional gas to Europe, but it's not that much per year, so it won't really have such a big influence on what they lose in the Russian supply. But the Russian supply of gas isn't done. It is not subject to any sanctions. It's just a practical supply problem. I don't understand why nobody talks about this. Yes, the Nord Stream pipelines have been damaged. Yes, I understand that. The Yamal line pipeline is blocked by Poland. I understand that. The Ukrainian pipeline is controlled by or shut off by the Ukrainians. A piece of it. And there's political reasons for that. But political reasons can always be negotiated and agreed upon between the friendly, unified European countries, which is all right. But anyways, oh God, no. Now, does anybody know or think why the Nord Stream pipeline was blown up? Is that an attack on Europe, or was it an attack on the Nord Stream pipeline? Everybody's now panicking. The Swedish guys and everybody is now going to protect their communication lines under the water, or the pipeline that goes now, Turk Stream, and flipping the other pipeline that's going in the Black Sea, and all these pipelines are going to be blown up. Why? Do I need to blow up an underground pipeline? No, I can blow up a pipeline on land somewhere in Europe because, like I said, there's a huge network of pipelines if I want to disrupt it. Then they talk about You know, LNG terminals are also very sensitive and can be blown up. And then we talk about LNG ships that are basically Hindenburgs and so on, can be blown up. Why? Why would anybody blow up these things? There's no reason for that. But there was a reason for blowing up the Nord Stream. There is no real danger in blowing up all the other infrastructures. But it won't harm you to put some security on there and patrol your pipelines and make sure they are safe, but they don't have the same threat as Nord Stream. And nobody wants to isolate Europe from any gas supply, to cut it off totally. Unless you have dubious motives of really destroying the European country. And just for the sake, so and then they talk about that there's some rumors, you know, that Denmark will and Sweden will close the ocean lines between them and not allow Russian vessels to transverse the Baltic Sea. Basically what it means, it cuts off like the Strait of Gibraltar, or you can look at what's that strait that narrow at Turkey that they control. Come on, I haven't got the name now. But in any case, that's Turkey controls that sea lane that connects the Black Sea with the Mediterranean. And now Denmark is concerned, the rumoring. Now, rumors are rumors. It's an illogical rumor. If they do that, then there is no choice for Russia but to react on this matter. And then we all know what might happen. Well, it might not happen. It's not going to commit and save their body, but that's those drastic steps in any case. And it's in the case against international law. And then they talk about, yeah, Russia is going to they are busy building a lot of ports and export terminals in the east of Russia and so on. And maybe Russia is going to move to that side. Yeah, but where's the infrastructure and the pipelines to transport the gas and the oil from the west of Russia right up to the east? No, you cannot connect those two things. You know, the Russians will export the gas and oil in the eastern side to those terminals, and the western side might go maybe to the Arctic section and maybe be transported in the Arctic region to the east. That might be possible. Or it might be by pipeline going down all the Russia by the Caspian Sea and then connected to the Belt and Road Initiative, and then to pipelines and railways through Iran, and maybe through, I don't know if it's Afghanistan, but at least Pakistan, because Pakistan is begging for pipelines, and then maybe even to India. And there's a huge port that China built in Pakistan for these types of usages. Part of the Belt and Road Initiative. So, no. Like, you gotta get sharpened up a little bit. And then the biggest question, in my opinion, is then they start off and they talk about Germany's become gonna deindustrialize and become a service-orientated industry, similar like Britain and partial America. But then they question themselves, what services is Germany going to supply? There's no financial systems. There's no insurance, big insurance companies. Yeah, they are in Britain, in London, but not in Germany. Yeah, there are some in Frankfurt, but not that big. Are they going to develop software now? Because India is currently the biggest software developer, and China is the A8 in AI development. And then we still got Japan and so on. So what Germany is going to do in software development? They're going to do art or website design or, well, not even Alexander knows it. So why are they even talking about that? The Germans are, and then they say, yeah, but the German economy and society will totally have to change. No, they will not change. Germany has built a current economic model on cheap Russian gas and energy. But before that, they were always a manufacturing powerhouse. And before the Second World War, they were a manufacturing powerhouse. And even before, well, not before First World War, but more or less, the Germans were always an economic powerhouse. The quality of their manufacturing and the amount that they manufactured and the technology was always top-notch. And it was always seen as a threat to the Western world. There was multiple reasons why the First World War started. And don't believe the story about what you read in your history book. About the, you know what I never understood about the First World War? Is that, if I remember, it's a Yugoslavian prince that was killed. Then Austria declared war, and then Germany, by defense pact, had to support Austria. But the whole First World War was blamed on Germany. How did that happen? Germany never initiated the First World War. They had a defense pact with Austria. Austria started it. So in any case. And then there was the Treaty of Versailles, which was everybody knew that will lead to the Second World War. And it was already tried at that stage to deindustrialize Germany and make them poor so they can't rise. Didn't happen. Then in 1929 there was the General Depression. And while England and America and France and so on were still reeling from the Depression, the German economy grew. And it became an economic threat to the rest of the world, especially Britain. And Second World War started due to the economic threat and the Treaty of Versailles and the fanatics. And like I said, there are multiple reasons for that. And then the Second World War happened. And then Germany was destroyed completely by the Allied bombing. And there was even another plan to destroy Germany. I think it's called the Morgenthau Plan, but it was rejected. So I think the Americans decided to occupy Germany. Well, they are still occupying Germany. And started a major propaganda subversion type of exercise that kept Germany down. So they will never rise, become a threat again, because the biggest threat was always Germany as a production house. And the Americans always stated that Germany and Russia, Germany with the manufacturing, Russia with the resources, is a threat to the Western world, to America. So that is the strength of the German nation. That is the strength of the properties of the German culture. I'm not excusing it. I'm trying to just explain. It's never going to change to a service industry. Even if you stay there, it doesn't matter because you don't even know what they're going to service. What's new ideas? Okay, what new ideas? The fourth industrial revolution, AI and so on. Come on, that's still far, 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 far away. So this was really a waste of a video that I had to watch. Sorry to say. Nothing that they said made any sense. Nothing. Now, They have a good reputation, and your reputation you have to build up over, it takes a long time, but you can destroy your credibility in a very short period. So I would urge these two guys to think about before they talk about certain subjects. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know. But I'm sure I'm not the only viewer of that video that asked these questions. So come on, guys. Talk about more sense. That's my story for today. If you like what I said or don't like, press the like, dislike button. And subscribe to the channel so we can grow the channel and become more visible and more vocal. And until next time, cheers.